prize are Dave Houston from Milwaukee, Oregon. And also from Milwaukee, Oregon. Wayne Webb from Rehoboth, Massachusetts. Kyle Shedd from Downey, California. And the tournament leader, 1979's leading money winner, Mark Roth. Yes, we're live from the Showboat Hotel, Casino, and one of the popular spots here near the Strip in Las Vegas, our 70 bowling lanes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chris Schenkel, delighted to be back from Europe and join the tour on the second stop in a tour of 16 cities. The $135,000 Showboat Invitational, a record number of entries, 408. And after 56 games, we've now come down to 5 professionals, and they are great. Speaking of great, despite my being away and not helping him, Nelson Burton Jr. has been bowling well. Finished 8th last week in Alameda and 9th here. Nelson, I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Chris. We really had a great week. It's been a full 56 games, and today we have 3 newcomers on the telecast, never before on television. In fact, in the first match, we have 2 fellas that grew up just 5 blocks apart. They know each other real well. They're real young. David Houston and Jim Winklepleck. They should have a good match. And the winner of that goes against Wayne Webb. He's made our telecast one other time, but he's a powerful young player. He has been winning on the summer and the other fall tour. The winner of that goes against the man who's made the biggest change I've ever seen in a game of bowling. 18 months ago, he's booking a 177 average. Today, he has a chance to win a national PBA title here on television, Kyle Shedd. But in order to win the title, they got to go against the game's premier star today, superstar Mark Roth.
And speaking of Mark Roth, here he is. And Mark, it's obvious that you're in the groove again. You had a 300 game on Thursday, and here you are, the tournament leader.
Well, Chris, I was really working hard this week. Scores were pretty high, and lanes were really nice, and I caught some breaks at the right time.
You know, I was in Europe covering ski jumping, and you must have jumped on a shot in Alameda because you converted a 710. And we, by way of videotape, go back to it. Let's watch and listen a week ago.
And he leaves the crowd buzzing. A good shot, apparently a good shot, hitting very light. Roth ripped the 5 pin. It went behind the 7. The normal pin action on that hit, the 5 pin goes over, takes out the 7. The 6 came around and hits the 10, but neither one of them happened that time. Roth is just going to go for 1.
Can't believe it, David. First time ever, the 7-10 split. We've seen 300 games. We've seen everything. What a turnaround.
And now in slow motion, Mark, tell us what you were thinking before the shot.
Well, I missed the 10 pin earlier. I figured, let me just throw the ball to 10, and I threw it hard, and I was lucky enough to get a good bounce off the kickback and knock the 7 out.
In other words, luck does have something to do with your being a great champion.
Well, that's split, yes. Well, you need a little luck to win sometimes.
Okay. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Mark Roth, ladies and gentlemen. Mark and all the others will be gunning for the first prize of $21,000 and the $135,000 Showboat Invitational. Competition from Las Vegas. This is the way it sets up. 19-year-old Dave Houston goes against his neighbor, 21-year-old Jim Winklepleck. The winner to meet Wayne Webb into the semifinal against Kyle Shedd, and then the tournament leader, Mark Roth. But right now, the 2 men from Milwaukee, Oregon, near Portland, Oregon, shake hands, and they are meeting for the first time on national television. In fact, Nelson, it's their initial appearance in a pressure-packed situation, using a pair that had some high scoring this week, so perhaps they'll get off and running.
We're looking for some tremendous scores today, Chris.
170 pounds, Dave Houston. He had an average of 229 this week, and now, as Bo said earlier, they live 5 blocks apart. 5'11", Jim Winklepleck.
Chris, he rolled a 300 game on this pair the first time he saw it last Tuesday.
Well, the pin's falling, and the match is all even after 1 frame, each coming through with a strike. Let's get a side view of this young man.
One of the young power players on the tour. They've all invaded the tour. Good, solid swing, elbow locks. Look at that left arm straight out. Keeps the shoulders nice and level. And a tremendous lift at the bottom. See that knee bend is down? Look at that arm follow through. Nice and loose, relaxed. Tremendous for a young man.
185-pounder moving to the line.
Get it!
Well, Winklefleck has opened with a double. And now back up will be Dave Houston.
Dave Houston comes from a bowling family, Chris. His dad bowls, his mother bowls, his brother Steve bowls, and his sister bowls also. So they've been in the bowling business. His father, in fact, is a former PBA member.
And David, whom we're looking, is also a 5-handicap golfer, I might point out. Off break, the 10-pin failing to go on the right lane of our pair here. Live coverage and a side view profile of Dave.
Dave Houston, I think, is the ideal young player to come on a tour. Watch the smooth push away, but watch his locked arm all the way. Top swing, tremendous, delays his swing, and tremendous lift. Look at that, does not break his elbow.
And now cross lane for the 10, marking with a spare. Houston opening with a strike, marking with a spare in the second. Now he moves to the left lane, and that is a tremendously high backswing. So
It is, Chris, but he has a thing that in his style that I saw one other time, and as I was coming up, Dick Weber, the great Dick Weber, always had his elbow locked all the way through a shot with the high backswing. This young man has the same type of style, yet 30 years younger.
standing room only crowd here at the Showboat Lanes, watching Dave Houston. Third frame. Now he's back striking. 40 to the second, strike up, and Winklefleck will be up next, leading by 10.
The footwork of David Houston. Now, he slides off balance just a little bit, but that's because of the tremendous lift he gives him the ball. Right here he comes through, drives off that right foot, slides in the foul line. Winklefleck, 10-pin lead, started with 2 strikes.
All right, after 3 frames, 3 strikes for Winklefleck. 232 average this week, and as we said, he's a 21-year-older who last year earned $7,367, and should he be able to go all the way today, he'd pick up a check for $21,000.
And you see 56 games up there, Chris. 3 times a year on our national television, ABC, we're going to have what we call the long format for the players before the telecast. 56 games. We started last Sunday.
Now going for a 4-bagger. He has it. So 4 frames, 4 strikes. Winklefleck going against Houston. The match will continue after
In Sunday's paper, your mail.
Pair of newcomers in our head-to-head competition on the live coverage of the Professional Bowlers Tour. Up now is Dave Houston at 6'2". He opened with a strike, marked with a spare. Strike up in the third, now shooting in the fourth. His opponent, Jim Winklefleck, opened with 4 strikes. First match, the winner to meet, Wayne Webb of Rehoboth, Massachusetts. It's a double for Houston. You can just see the determination, though, in this real competitor.
Both these fellows are. David Houston, an excellent athlete, Chris. He did almost everything. I talked to him earlier. He sang in the choir for 3 years. He had a 3-point grade point average in school. He played basketball, golf. He did it all. But bowling's his best sport, and he really has the style to do well for many years in this game.
And he's only 19 years old. Double up, shooting now in the 5th frame. And he needed that to stay close to his opponent, Jim Winklefleck, also from Milwaukee, Oregon.
And that's the shot that these contemporary young players carry so well. The light hit, just tearing that 5 right out there, opening those pins up. Also, that's one of the reasons the scores are so high this week. The pin action has been fabulous. Most every strike we've seen today has been light. That's the percentage with these young power players on the lighter pins. Winklefleck leads by 10, 4-bagger working.
A little bit to the left of center in his approach. And with that 5-bagger now, he increases his lead to 20 over Dave Houston.
Jim Winklefleck averaged 253 on this pair for his 2 appearances during the earlier qualifying, Chris. Right now, he's got the first 5. We had a sensational match last night where David Houston made the telecast by defeating Marshall Holman Houston had a 267 to 280. The scores look that way so far today.
Now shooting in the 6th frame. There's a pretty good example, Bo, of what you were talking about here, which helps the high scoring. And is he pumped up? Oh, that adrenaline is flowing. Watch the reaction again.
They take a few lessons from Marshall Holman. They all come up that Northwest. They must have acting school up there. Look at this. Gets a break off the sideboard. You think he wasn't rooting for that one?
All right.
Match far from over, though, because with the big scores, 30 pins means nothing. One ball here or there, and the whole match can turn around, because as we see so far, 4, 5, 6 baggers are easy to string.
And we can anticipate now. Remember, the tournament leader is the greatest of the last few years. Mark Roth. He's just waiting in the wings. This is our first match on our second stop on the Professional Bowlers Tour, live from Las Vegas. On the right lane once more for Houston.
Two apparently good shots have put Houston really in trouble. He's trailing by 31. He left a solid 10 on this right-hand lane in the 2nd frame. Once again, he was a little light on that hit and left the weak 10. That's about the only hit that stopped the players from perfect games on this pair this week.
Cross lane shot, close, 10 pin, and as you see, it's a spare in the 6th frame. 31 pins separating these two young professionals, first time on national television. The winner to meet Wayne Webb, the winner of that match to go against Kyle Shedd of Downey, California, and then the tournament leader, Mark Roth.
Dave Houston going at a 219 pace right now, 7th frame.
A tough break for Houston, leaving the 2-8 on the left lane.
Just threw the ball a little too hard, Chris. Setting up the pair as we usually do. We're on 59 and 60 here at the Showboat. The left-hand lane here seems to be a little tighter or slicker, and to be a little lighter on that lane and a little fuller on the right-hand lane.
All right, covering the 2 and the sleeper 8. We'll be back after this. Now, we have Jim Winklepleck of Milwaukee, Oregon, bowling against a neighbor in our first match. Jim has 6 in a row, now shooting in the 7th frame. And a 7 pin on the right lane stopped the string at 6, giving Winklepleck 149 through the 5th. Round of applause for his perfect effort.
A little extra speed. The ball will take out the 5, but not quite drive it over the 7. See, he's lighting the 1-3. 5 pin goes out. It doesn't quite get to the 7. A little extra power to driven it straight back into the 7.
Lofting it out on the lanes and covering the 7. So, tell us a little bit about the condition of these lanes.
Well, Chris, there's 2 elements, really 3, that make good scoring. First, we have the greatest bowlers in the world. That's the #1 element. We have it every week. But here, the pin action is so tremendous. The air is real light here. There's hardly any humidity. I don't think these pins, a bowling pin can actually gain an ounce or 2 in humidity if you're in a high humidity area, say down by the ocean or something. Out here in the desert, the pin action is tremendous. There's not much air resistance. And naturally, the lane surface is an ideal condition with the outside just a little drier than the center. And the great talents we have today, you have the multiple of big scores.
Imagine that, only his 12th career tournament. And here he is in the finals out of a field of 408. He finished 4th. Now the 8th frame, leading by 32. Back striking. So Hustad is up, and he'll be shooting in the 8th frame with a spare working and trailing by 32. So crossing these 70 lanes, you 408 players, did you use many bowling balls, changing them as you went along?
Chris, with the ideal conditions here they had this week, we didn't have to do it. When the lanes are a little tougher, you have to change balls more often.
Okay. What a powerful strike. And Bo, you told me about this young man, and I'm really impressed how he sets up on the approach. The way he places his fingers in the ball, his placing of the feet, he looks really professional.
I picked him right out, Chris. I think this young man's going to be a great star. All these kids we have today, but David has a real good attitude. He's a tough competitor, and he has the power roll that it takes to be competitive on the tour today.
Now
Needs his strike.
Ninth frame. That's it. Even though it looked as though the ball was going to slide by the pocket. The lead is 22 pins.
That's the percentage shot that the crankers really have. They get hit real light, a lot of revolutions on the ball. Head pin goes to sideboards, does all the work on the pin action. Right now, Houston has kept himself in a match. He can still shoot a 247. Winklepleck is working at a 249 pace. So the match could come right down to the 10th frame.
This is our first match. Late hit on the 7 pin, and it's a strike in the 9th, and a 32-pin lead for Winklepleck.
And animated Jim Winklepleck. Boy, he's going to have to watch his actions when he gets to be about 30. He won't have an arm left, but they're bowling for big money here, and this shot right here will lock up the first match for Jimmy Winklepleck.
And should he lock it up, his opponent will be Wayne Webb. More experienced. What strength.
You know, it's interesting, Chris, these fellows have played against each other a lot of times. I talked to David Houston before we went on. He says, you know, I bowl with Jimmy all the time, and he felt that he's one of his best friends, but out here for this big money, there would be a little rivalry on the lanes. But I think you're going to see both these players many times on the tour. Winklepleck has a chance for a 279 game with 2 more strikes.
He needs one more for that 279. 2 young men from the West Coast, the Northwest, and both from bowling families.
Jimmy Winklepleck answered your question, Chris, on the high scores. He kept the ball in the pocket, but notice the tremendous pin action he's had. He's had the wall shot. He's had the swisher. He had the trip 4 that time, and naturally he's carried the pack strike. Possible 279.
They're so strong, spinning that bowling ball like most of us would spin a ping pong ball. Wow. Big 279 and a hug for the neighbors. What a great opener. Second match will be coming up, Wayne Webb and Jim Winklepleck after this. Well, we hope you saw the first match in its entirety. Jim Winklepleck beat his neighbor 279 to 226. Winklepleck with 11 strikes, Houston with 7. So now, a man that drained a lot of emotional energy out of his huge body will go against 22-year-old Wayne Webb of Rehoboth, Massachusetts. There's the handshake. And we go into our second match in our head-to-head format, 19th year of the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Wayne Webb and Jim Winklepleck. We're going to see a little bit different style between these 2 players.
A different line. And it's 4-pin. First frame for Winklepleck.
Jim has 2 elements that are really important in his game. One is the loft. He lofts the ball about 18 to 20 inches over the foul line, which is ideal. Too much more, and the ball would skid. A little less, it wouldn't hold. And there's our alternate, Marshall Holman. Bowled a fabulous 280 the last game, but couldn't knock Houston out of the top 5.
So Winklepleck opens with a spare in our second match. The winner of this match will go against Kyle Shedd. Now let's concentrate on Wayne Webb. He won the World Open in Chicago back in 1978 when he defeated the veteran Roy Buckley. 22 years old, 5'5", hanging the ball low to his side. Watch the line. Wow. Well, that pin came out of the blue.
And you talk about power, Chris. He's playing what they call the channel shot. Watch this ball. It's 5 feet from the pins. It's almost out in the channel. Now watch the 5-pin. Go to the sideboard, the head pin to the sideboard, and come back, just demolishing the 10. That is just overpowering the whole lane.
He uses hardly half the approach, a little more than half. There he is. Wow. And Across lane, carrying once more, taking out the 10 bow. This is something.
Chris, it's just amazing the power that these young players have. They've developed it. It works perfect on the urethane finishes they have today, and the 2 strikes that Wayne Webb had are just sensational. He has the crowd buzzing.
And now Winkle Pleck, who won the first match, 279, 226. Spare up, second frame. Another 4.
Well, Jimmy Winklepleck carried 11 strikes the first game, and a little bit of a mixture, but so far this game he's been high in the first frame with a 4-pin, and then a 4-pin on an unusual hit, the light 4-pin.
All right, 2 spares for Winklepleck, whose best finish coming up to today was 10th in last summer's Seattle Open.
Chris, I had the good fortune of crossing with him in the qualifying last week in Alameda, and the young man had a tremendous strike ball. I picked him out as a good player, but he really didn't watch his concentration that much. He got talking with his friends and all that instead of out there working, and this week he bared down. He didn't bother anybody, worked on his game, concentrated, and this is the kind of results he's getting.
We've got a 4-9 problem for Winklepleck on the left lane.
Jimmy Winklepleck is not adjusting to the lanes. We saw him get all those strikes. Remember, everybody, no matter whether you're a pro or an amateur at home, the lanes change slightly as you bowl. You're wearing some of that conditioner off. The heat has some to evaporate. Jimmy Winklepleck's going to have to make a move of about a board left on the approach to adjust for these high hits.
Okay. And it's a open frame for Winklepleck in the third, going against Wayne Webb, who's up and ready, and who has a double working, shooting in the third. Concentration broken momentarily.
Wayne also says sometimes his hands perspire a little bit, and he wants it nice and dry so he can hold the ball nice and relaxed. Plus, he has to concentrate exactly where he stands when he plays that critical outside line. There's no room for mistake. If he sends it a little wide, it could be the old 0 shot.
Three in a row. What, as strong as a blacksmith. Look at the size of the arms.
Powerful young man, Chris. I bowled also with him in his first tournament about 3 years ago back in his hometown area near Cranston, Cranston, Rhode Island. And he was a little wild at the time, but calmed down, learned how to make his spares, keep everything under control. And that tour experience is showing up now.
Most unusual style. Look at it. And Wayne Webb now has a 44-pin lead and a 4-bagger. Las Vegas, Nevada, city of fun. It's been hard work for professional bowlers who, especially after 56 games, have now reached this point. Finishing 4th was this young man, Jim Winklepleck, who won the first match 279 to 226 over Dave Houston. Now he is down against Wayne Webb, shooting in the 4th frame. High hit, leaving the 4, 6, 10.
You know, he's completely drained, I think, from the first match, Chris. You can notice he's much slower with his feet, much slower with the ball. He's getting it out on the lane. You can see the good lift and loft, but he's doing it a little slower. And to hold the line or hold pocket, what we call today, like, see, there's the ball in the pocket, but because he lacks speed, a little too slow, the ball breaks high.
Though, talk about speed. He has much speed on that shot, hoping to convert at 4, 6, 10. But a moment ago, he held his right shoulder.
Well, he might have pulled a muscle or something for throwing too hard, or some of those animated shots he had in the first match against David Houston.
Right.
Right now, he's got his back to the wall, a must-strike situation, even early in the match, trailing by 55.
Finally gets his first strike in this match in the 5th frame after 11 in his first game. Now Wayne Webb with a 4-bagger, 22, 5 feet 5, 145 pounds, 55-pin lead, as you see. it 5 in a row for Wayne Webb.
Chris, Wayne comes from a real bowling family, and there's something I would venture to say probably unique in their family. His father and both of his older brothers, Bill and Roy, have all rolled perfect games, including Wayne. That's 4 separate people in one family. That's quite a bowling family.
And the man that just said that comes from a bowling family. His father, Nelson Burton Sr., Hall of Famer.
He cranked it up a little bit like these fellas. I should have learned a little more from him.
Mm-hmm. You learned a lot from him. And a 4-pin has ended it at 5 for Wayne Webb. Buddy has a 64-pin lead.
The sharp breaking trajectory at the back end is very difficult to trip the 4 out, and that's the reason he didn't get the trip 4 like Winklepleck had before. The unique approach, Wayne Webb, short 4 steps, full arm swing, tremendous power.
And his same machine-like swing covered the 4-pin for a spare in the 6th frame. 139 through the 5th, the spare up. Okay. Now Jim Winklepleck.
To procrastinate a little bit for Winklepleck, he has a possible 235 if he could throw 8 in a row, Chris. Wayne Webb's at working at a 239. Has to settle down. He knows where to play the lanes, knows how to lift it out, definitely knows how to throw strikes. A well-practiced young bowler.
Winklepleck with a double now. The lead is cut to 54.
We have a Winklepleck family actually on the tour. His brother Mike, his older brother, started Jimmy bowling when he was 5. Mike also bowls occasionally on the tour, and they all get to bowl, I guess, for free at their daddy's bowling center in Gladstone, Oregon. And a bowling family all his life.
And they know about playing up front and working in the back, too, don't they? That's the way you were brought up as well.
You got it. Winklepleck can cut Wayne Webb's lead to 44 with 1 more strike.
That pen action here in Las Vegas is tremendous. The city of fun. Don't forget our tournament leader is Mark Roth.
Wayne Webb is taking advantage of that outside line. He made a big charge. The first set of games in this tournament, he wasn't near the top 24. They decided on that outside trajectory to help him control that big hook, and right now he's in 3rd place, going for a shot at the title.
Webb with 3 PBA titles going against Winklepleck, who is looking for his first title. There you see the situation for Winklepleck, those 2 open frames, 3rd and 4th. But he has strung 3. And right now Wayne Webb is looking at the overhead score sheet.
Well, the one mistake that he could make is try to get too careful. I think Jimmy Winklepleck did that this game. He had that adrenaline pumped up, shot to 279 the first game. And then he went down and had a little bit of trouble by slowing up. Wayne Webb's been a little slow on the last 2 shots, has to maintain that speed. Leaving the 10-pin on the left lane. Well, the bowlers, including you, Nelson Burton Jr., will be leaving for Anaheim, California, because that's where the $125,000 Miller High Life Classic will take place. And a week from today, our 3rd stop, we'll be televising the finals live and in color. You got it. That's a great stop on the tour. Will be followed by the Quaker State Open in Grand Prairie, Texas. Yeah, Bobby Cooper and Jeannie Cooper are in attendance today. Came out to enjoy a little bit of the Las Vegas weather. They're always great hosts when we're in Texas. Winklepleck, who won the first game, if you just joined us, with 11 strikes, 279 to Dave Huston's 226. Now has a 3-bagger, trailing by 42, shooting in the 8th. Must-strike situation to stay in the match. Leaving the 2-4-5 on the right lane. Chris, you picked it out. It seems like he just lost the rhythm. I think all those animations tell you the truth. He's pulling at his shoulder, pulling his arm. He does not have that smooth rhythm that he had in the first match against David Huston. His adrenaline in that first match and emotional